Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a stream highlight from when HellHades showed up on my Twitch channel to talk with me and my community about the gear optimizer for champions in Raid that he is adding to his website, hellhades.com, which I will provide a link down below in a pinned comment for you to go check that out. But yeah, in my opinion, this is going to be one of the coolest things to come to the Raid community since probably Deadwood Jedi's calculator, which, shout out to Deadwood, he is actually pretty close to releasing version 2.0 of that calculator. So lots of cool things happening right now in the Raid community, resources to help you become a better player. And I figured, why not sit down with the man himself and ask some questions from a beginner user's perspective, because I purposely held off a few days and didn't use this until I was hanging out with Hades, so I could ask him questions, we could get it up and running, take a few minutes to show you the process, and then walk through how it works. So let's get into it. We need to get you a wider green screen, don't we?
Yeah, I need to move house. That's what I need to do.
Are you a little crunched for space or what?
I'm literally in my front room. I'm in a small corner of the front room. That's where I am. We just don't have space for this sort of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It was never a plan, so yeah. But we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm loving this kind of new stand-up look. It must get your steps in nowadays.
Yeah, when are you gonna join the stand-up crowd with me and Jay Giggs?
Yeah, I like it actually. Again, like maybe when I move.
Yeah, there you go.
If I get some space, yeah. If I stood up now, I'd literally like be right against the wall. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess I brought you on to let everybody know what's the deal with the optimizer tool and kind of maybe some people that haven't heard about it yet, or maybe if we can answer questions from the chat, maybe get mine up and running real quick and just kind of walk through the basics of what you're thinking and what's to come in the future and what went on and all that. So I'll let you kind of take it away and explain kind of what that project was.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So basically I bumped heads with someone who was building a tool probably about 3 months ago. And they had this kind of like bare bones. It was already pretty cool. And I was like, right, how do we turn this into something which a wider community could actually use? Yeah, because as it was very much a developer tool, and to use it you kind of needed to be a developer as well. It wasn't very easy to navigate. So yeah, so basically I was just like, look, this is my ideas, this is what we'd like to do with it, is it possible? And pretty much for the last 2 months we've just been working on different iterations, trying to get it to a point where it's kind of at least beta test ready, which is where we're at right now. So yeah, the main aim of it is it extracts all of your data from PlariumPlay, uploads it into a file or onto a website in effect, and then you can manipulate your gear to get pretty much like outstanding results for your champions. That's where we're going with it. As I say, it's still in beta, so there's still some bits to sort of work through, but it's already pretty solid.
Okay. Then walk people through if they're curious about using it, or is it possible for anybody to participate in the beta, or is it closed, or?
Yeah, so the beta is as long as it needs to be to get the tool into really good shape. Basically what we're doing, so we so on the website to join the beta you need to be a premium member to the HellHades site. And the main reason for that is we've already got a fair amount of users and we've only got 3 people. And there's a lot of kind of questions to fill in around how to use the tool. Once we get it to a place that we're really comfortable with it and it's working as we want it to be, then what we're planning to do is to launch at least parts of the tool out to the whole community. And by that, I mean, it might be like 2 or 3 months away yet, but at least parts of it to everyone, widespread, and then have a premium side, which is kind of like some of the real kind of perk features. That's what we want to do. But at the moment, it's basically for a select group, not a select group. Anyone can join the beta, but it's only for premium users on the site. So should we get yours going?
Sure. Yeah. I don't know if you're watching the stream. I've got the
I can see it now. Yeah.
I've got the download link. The raidoptimizer.hellhades.com. I can post that link in the chat. But like he said, you're gonna need that's the link to like the spot to download it. But like he said, head on over to the main site. Look into one of those subscription options if you want access to the beta until they've got a more basic version kind of publicly out there in a few months. But that's that link. And then, yeah, so I downloaded it. I extracted it, and then what's the step from there?
Yeah, just one thing I want to say is, so I'm not charging people for the tool, and it might feel like that, but basically it's to support the site and the growth plans we've got. And this is just a premium package to support the site, and there's other kind of bonuses depending on what you want to do, right? And I'm not saying that everyone should come and pay for supporting the site. It's totally up to you if you fancy doing it or not. But the people that are using it are seeing some good benefits already, so it's quite a nice little perk. Ultimately, we are looking to develop more tools, and it costs a lot of money to do it. So is what it is. But yeah, let's crack on. So
sure,
you've already extracted.
Yep. So then I go like run that or something, right?
Yeah. So are you running PlariumPlay already?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you already pressed on the blue link here, the blue text on that page that you got open?
Yeah, I downloaded that. Yep.
So it should say upload to website if you've got it working. It's that tool should.
Oh, yep. Okay.
And it should take you back to the web page in a few seconds.
Yep.
And you should be good to go.
It took me back to like that screen that I was on. I'll show you.
Yep, that's the one. So now it should have your heroes and your artifacts. If you see top right.
Oh, yep. Okay. Top right, heroes and artifacts.
So if you click into heroes.
Oh, cool.
So that's now your account. It's got all of your account detail now in the tool.
Okay.
And the main thing you can do on this page, so you can either just search for a hero. Just be aware that first search bar before you type anything, it does bring up like recently searched words and stuff.
Cool.
Just be aware of that for stream. But you can filter out stuff. You can filter people out by affinity and all that type of stuff. But the main thing that you do on this page that people are going to use it for is you can lock out champions. So if you do not want to touch anyone in your arena team or your clan boss team, you don't want to take any gear off any of those guys, you can just lock them with the little padlock on the right-hand side of the champ.
Okay.
Then once we want to get into actually gearing somebody, click the one you want to go for. Click whichever champion you want.
Let's see. Torment's popular one right now.
Yeah. And this just tells you how your Torment is geared right now on the left-hand side.
Okay.
And on the right, it's kind of got all of the artifacts that you own, basically, scrolling down. And what you do from here, so you go into the kind of little green. So I'm trying to see, your screen's quite small for me. Let me just upload mine at the same time so I can see what the tabs are actually saying. Yeah, optimize artifacts, a little green tab.
Okay.
And then from here, we get into the sexy part of the tool, really. So this is where you're telling the tool to start to search for your items to give you the best possible build. Okay. So we've got a number of presets in there which need to be tweaked. They're not fully kind of usable, but they will be probably within a day. So we're going to start to get some presets that enable people to just pick up, widely searched things. Like if you need to do a cold heart build, well, we want an easy to use kind of starting point. And there's stuff in there that we're going to put for clan boss and for arena type of roles, that type of thing. But what you can do, so if you go into stats, second one down.
Stats. Okay.
And what you're doing here is you're starting to define what you want the tool to look for. So you might say with a Torment, you want, I don't know, like a high amount of defense. So you might say, I want a minimum of 3,000 defense up to 4,000.
Come on, Hades. We want 4,000 minimum, at least.
4 minimum. Okay. Do it. 4 minimum. And then either decide a maximum or just leave it open. Up to you.
Sure, we can leave that open. Yep.
Yeah. A minimum on your speed.
Probably at least, 215.
Okay. And obviously, if you were doing this for like the arena, then you would already be speed tuning through the normal tools that we would do. So you'll know exactly what you want there. But 215, cool. Minimum on your crit rate. Or really, basically, you fill in whatever fields you want to do. So if Torment is not going to be like a damage dealer for you, it's just going to be like a accuracy, annoying freeze champion, then you might leave crit rate completely bare.
Sure,
you might just go straight down to accuracy.
And then for accuracy, we'd want 400 or so. Okay.
Yeah. And now the important part, which is not super easy yet, and it's something that we're trying to make easier for people to understand. What you have to do now is you have to change the importance sliders to start to find the right type of pieces of gear. So basically, what the importance sliders actually should be called is it's almost like you're telling the tool to look for gear with roles in these different areas. Okay, so actually what you're going to want to do is maybe move your importance up on defense, speed, and accuracy. And for defense, what you're actually saying, so if you say +4, you're basically telling the tool to look for gear which has got maybe like 1 defense roll on average. If you do on speed, you might want to say, actually, if you're only going for 215 speed, you probably only want to do about a +5 or 6 importance. And some of this, like, we might run builds and then tweak it afterwards. So you might run a first search, find a reasonable build, and then you kind of tweak it once you've got to your place.
Okay.
And then the slider you've got an accuracy there feels probably about right. So the next thing down is slots. This basically defaults to you searching for all of your gear. But if you just wanted to change your weapon, for example, then you could deselect all of the other stuff. But for most people, you'll be searching for all your gear.
Okay.
Next one down is sets. So again, like the default here is that you're going to search all of your gear, all of the sets.
One sec. Let me turn down Stream Raiders here. You still do Raiders?
Yeah, I'd still do Raider. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. Good to have one in the background, I think. It's a kind of little sub game.
I've got it turned down. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
That's right. Yeah. So the next one down is sets. And really what you would be doing here. So if you were particularly looking to build something like I don't know, like a Savage Nuka, then you would deselect all of the sets and just press Savage. Yeah. Now, at the moment, what the tool does is if you just selected one set, it would look for 6 pieces of that set instead of 4.
Okay.
So,
and does it know like the difference between a 4-piece set, a 2-piece set?
Not at the moment. So it works out the calculation of any set bonuses, but it doesn't know that there's a 2-piece set and a 4-piece set in the mix. So all it's doing at the moment is working out numbers. Part of the rework we're going to do is so that it totally understands. If you put Savage and Cruel, you're going to want 4-piece Savage, 2-piece Cruel. But at the moment, that's the kind of next big ticket thing to fix.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
But what you can do, so let's say you did want Savage, you could actually just select Savage, find 6 pieces, then go back into the tool, deselect back into that slots, deselect all bar 2, and then find 2 pieces of like speed gear, for example. So you could, there is a workaround. I did a video on it today, which kind of shows you how to do that stuff. But anyway, yeah, so we'll leave it all on for now. In filter, the next kind of tab down, all of this is default on, by the way, so you wouldn't normally need to do this.
Okay.
Default on is to say I want to look at all equipped items. So from any of my champs, all that won't look at is people that you've locked. Yeah. And then it also defaults to looking at a minimum level artifact of 8. So if you rolled stuff up to 8 to 16, it will find all of those pieces. For someone like you might just pick stuff that's rolled up to level 16. But for newer players, then they might probably leave it at level 8.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So, well, and I guess that's if you, I get it. It's just another parameter. That's cool.
Yeah. So what we're looking to do, as again, like a build on this, is to have a little tick box to say, almost like if it's level 8, assume it is level 16 and pull the stats up as if you'd leveled it. So you might have a chest, for example, that's a level 8 chest, that's an HP percentage chest, which might actually be your better build, but because it's level 8, you might not think to equip it. Well, what the tool could do is level it for you, but just not assume any substats.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
And then that's it. So then we hit optimize.
Now, I would put this to 0 if I just wanted to find any gear, right?
Well, if you put it to 0, you're going to find stuff that's not been rolled at all. So for you actually want to put it to 16, probably, the stuff that's been rolled to max. Okay.
And then search limiter?
Yeah. So then the search limiter is default on as, I think it's 2, is it? Or 1? If you move it with arrow keys, that means it's a bit fiddly. If you move it to arrow keys to 6, what it's going to look for is your 6 best pieces per slot. You can move it up much higher, and it takes loads of time.
Yeah, I was going to say, so this is
on.
kind of a way to limit it in terms of how long it takes.
Exactly, yeah. So if you had a couple of years and you wanted to search all your gear, you could whack it right up to the top. We're going to change this parameter so that you can't go that crazy. But at the moment, you know, if you're really looking for that absolute perfect build,
set it overnight,
and you've got 20 minutes, then you'd set it up higher, yeah.
Oh, I had a good question. What would the normal search be? Like, what would you want to limit it to? If you just wanted a quick, like, 1 minute search, like what, 10, 12 per?
Yeah, well, I'd say if you set it at 6, you still get really strong results. So even at that 5-second return of time,
okay,
or you know, so I mean that's a second that it's come back with all of those options for you there.
Yep.
And if you look at the parameters that have come back, you've got your speed requirement, you've got your defense requirement, you've got your accuracy, and then what you're doing at this point is just saying, have I found like the golden ticket? Have I got the one that I want?
So these are all the different builds it comes back with?
Yeah. So if you click on view, you'll see exactly where those pieces of gear are right now.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
So if you
can basically pick which build you want.
Yeah, so you pick the build, or if you've not got one that you really love, or you think to yourself, you know what, I've got loads of options here, maybe I can push my crit rate up and still get a really good result, then you can go back into the stats.
Now, was this a lot of options or a little? Like, does it typically bring back like 2 or 3 based on what I did, or does it typically bring back like 50?
For the type of build you just put in, it will typically do what you've got there.
Oh, okay.
So what we're saying is it will pull out like your top 10.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then for most people, you either pick a build or you go back into stats and think to yourself, right, how do I redefine this so that I get an even better build? So you might think to yourself, you know what, I want a minimum 60% crit rate because I've got this build easy.
Okay.
Yeah. So you might start to just improve the requirements. You go minimum 50 on the crit rate, and then just put a little bit of importance on it in the slider. Probably just like a 3 or a 4 in the slider.
And you can use your arrow keys, which is cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then optimize again at the bottom. Clear what you've got and then rerun.
Oh, clear. Search limiter, we leave that.
So everything else will be as it was before. Just hit the start again.
Yep. And now it returned everything with 50 crit rate.
Yeah. So you're kind of, what you'll find now, you probably lost a bit of accuracy to do that. So you're now making decisions, you know, because what it's doing is it's finding, now that there's a new kind of parameter on the table, it's now finding pieces of gear that have got that crit rate parameter locked in. So you might have lost 1 or 2 rolls of accuracy to make that happen, you know? So it's just finding the right build for what you're looking to do.
Yeah, because when I bumped it from 50 crit to 75, the accuracies went down about 20 something.
Yeah, yeah, because what it's looking for now is more pieces of gear with a crit rate roll on it to get to that stat.
Okay, and then you would just look and be like, okay, so this says 4378 defense. That's my highest defense roll while also getting all this stuff. So that would kind of be the one I'm looking for. And then it would say, okay, I got a piece on Armiger, a piece on Cold Heart, Ignatius, Molly, and then I could just go kind of grab those pieces, and then I know exactly this is going to be the build.
Yeah, so at the moment, it's not synced into your game, so you would have to go into the game, actually actively put those on yourself.
Yep.
And then what you can do on this tool, so let's say you were building a whole team here, you could, if you press the view button again quickly.
Okay.
You see there's an equip button in the tool.
Equip.
Down the bottom there. So once you've equipped the items in the game, if you press the equip button, it now assumes that Tormund's wearing that gear.
Okay.
Yeah. And what you can do, there's a little padlock button there on the character screen. Okay. You could lock your Tormund and say, for my next build, don't take anything off Tormund because he's part of the team I just built.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's if somebody, say you've got an unkillable comp, you've got somebody who you're never going to touch their gear, you would go through and lock them. And then it's going to save this each visit to the site, or is this something you'd want to do each time you're building stuff?
So anyone that you lock is always locked from your access unless you unlock them. But every time you change anything in the game, so let's say you go and farm a load of dragon, you would need to go back to the uploader, the little bit where you put your login info into. You see the little HellHades tool, and there's a button there that just says upload to website. So
Where am I at now?
Right at the start. So right at the start, you've got the kind of rectangle upload button.
This thing right here?
Let me see. Yeah. You see it says upload to website?
Yep.
So if you'd made a load of changes in the game, and you just want like a fresh look of what's going on, you hit the upload to the website again,
and that'll refresh
all of the info. But anyone that you've locked will still be locked.
Yep. And then, so you'd want to refresh it if you're going to go into another crafting session. You'd want to re-upload it?
Pretty much, yeah. Yep. So if the thing you just did there to equip the items to Torment, you didn't equip anything in the game. Yep. You just done it in the tool. And pretty much what it is like a moment in time. So because you press the equip, it's assumed you've done that in the game as well. And you could just carry on until you've done all your builds if you want to. But yeah, a good idea. I think once you've made a few changes in the game, it's probably a good idea just to hit the upload to website again, just so that you're working with as clean a data as you can, really.
Okay, cool. What's the... I think all of that kind of makes sense. Guys, if you have any questions in the chat, we'll take a couple minutes. If you've got anything you want Hades to touch on, what's up, Chandrigan? How you doing? What's up, David? But yeah, what's next on what's the next thing I think you may have touched on this at the start, but where's your mindset right now in terms of adding?
Yeah, so I mean, short term, there's things like so currently it doesn't understand Law of Steel. It understands all masteries apart from Law of Steel. So that's a big priority because that's really a fundamental for people building their champs. So that's like top of the priority list. The second one is to make it understand the kind of 4 set bonuses better, so that if someone puts any sort of 4-piece set in as their only set they're looking for, it doesn't just fill in 6 parts of that. And then after that, I mean, it starts to become really what we want it to do is to be able to have like a preset option where we're building like a whole clan boss team for someone, so or giving them the tools to build their own team. So really, it's down. We're taking a lot of community feedback at the minute to see what sort of presets that people would want to use, and we're starting to build those out. But I guess what I'm most excited about for the future is being able to use this same tool because we got everyone's champion in the tool. We see how they did. It's using the tool to suggest things like your best dungeon team for Dragon or your best team for Clan Boss or something along those lines. Which would be pretty cool, I think. Could be. So again, there always has to be like some sort of human intervention for this stuff, because right there you've got like 10 builds for a Toolman, and Toolman's probably quite an easy build. Whereas if you get to a man-eater where you've got one speed that you're looking for, and you're then trying to push kind of damage, it takes a bit more tweaking to get it to work, especially with those sliders. So I think the other thing we really want to do is to make that slider part way more intuitive, so that anyone, even with someone with no brain at all, can still get a build out of the tool.
Whoa! Why the insults today? Come on.
No, I'm saying, like, if there's a kid playing the game, could he use the tool? Probably not right now. Basically, you still have to have a kind of good sense of what it's doing.
So, no, I was writing down while you were talking. I was writing down a couple questions I saw in the chat.
Yeah, cool.
So somebody asked if it considers your Great Hall.
Yeah, Great Hall, arena level, current masteries.
So
all
it
of that
crunches your total stats. It takes that into account when it's putting together the build. So
if you look at the box we got up here on the left-hand side.
Box up on the left-hand side.
For your champion here. It's got your basic stats, your artifact stats, your Great Hall.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so it's like what you'd see in the game, basically.
Cool. Okay.
So the only thing it doesn't work out, so although it's got all of that info there, Law of Steel, which is important for speeds and stuff like that, is currently not understood when you're doing the optimization part. So that's, as I say, that's like top priority, because if someone's looking for a particular speed on someone, then that can throw them out.
Okay. And then somebody was asking about other devices. If there'll ever be a mobile app, if it'll ever come to Mac, things like that.
Yeah, Mac's probably doable. So at the moment, it's a Windows file. It's a Windows kind of search tool. Macs, we could probably manipulate the same type of search tool to work on Macs, but it could be a month down the line. I'm not sure really. Mobile is very different because of the way the program is stored in mobile. We'd absolutely have to go and like create an actual app, and that's really expensive to do. So I think it's unlikely to work on a mobile unless it went to like crazy funding, basically.
Cool. And then somebody asked about Plarium. Did you have to get their blessing, or have they said anything about you making this tool? Anything to talk about there?
Yeah, so I asked them up front, and basically it potentially goes against one of their terms of service, one of their TOS, but in the same way that data mining does when people kind of mine out new information in the game. And basically their feedback to us is it's commonplace in this type of game, and because there's exactly this type of tool for like Summoners Wars and a bunch of other games similar, World of Warcraft, all those type of things. So they've said, look, as long as it's not a detractor from the community, then they're absolutely behind it. That's basically the feedback.
Yeah, I don't see how that would ever be a problem with something like this. You're helping people be able to optimize teams. That would only be a good thing, you would think.
Yeah. And there's a few people have asked, like, are we storing a load of PlariumPlay logins and that type of stuff? The only thing that you ever use, or the only thing that we ever see my end in terms of website, is someone's email address. Everything done through the login is your website email address. We never interact with PlariumPlay apart from pulling data for champions and gear. But clearly it's still down to people to have their own decision about whether they want to do it. But we never take any PlariumPlay info from you.
Cool. And then somebody had asked if there's ever any plans to like store your teams and be able to play around with different teams, like have it all laid out in one page. This is my Dragon team, this is my Fire Knight team, and then have your different information that you can kind of move champions around and kind of look at everything on one nice little page there.
Yeah, so that's exactly the when I said like longer term plans around team builders for different dungeons, that's exactly what we want it to do. We want it to almost actually look at your champions and say, this is a recommendation. Like you've got 4 decreased defense champions based on some sort of algorithm. This is what we'd rate as your best one. And then, it would lay it out as a team. So absolutely, that's something we'd like to do. Another cool thing actually we'd like to do is to be able to, or have people upload their presets and their builds to us so that we can store that type of thing on a website in case someone else wants to come in and almost, pinch someone else's build, which would be quite a cool thing to do as well. So almost like community sharing.
Yeah, I think there's I never played like Summoner's War. Could you do that type of stuff on there?
So I've never played it either, but I did play a lot of World of Warcraft, and that type of thing to certain varying levels could be done on World of Warcraft. I've seen the Summoner's War app, which I've not seen it in action actually. I've seen the type of things that they try and do in it, and there's a lot of similarities actually between what this is trying to do and what the Summoner's War one does. Summoner's War one, as far as I can see, doesn't give you like a team builder. It does give you some cool features though. So there's some things there that we might try and see if we can work in over time. Obviously, all this sort of stuff, we've got a developer that's on hand, but he's got a full-time job, and he does it as kind of additional. So although we've got a team working it through, none of these kind of builds just happen in 5 minutes.
Yeah, of course. It's a little bit more of a passion project as opposed to some full-time coder that you have working on your thing.
Yeah. And we've actually, I don't know if you're familiar with Trello, but it's kind of like a project manager type thing. So we've got this like Trello board now full of suggestions, and we're like trying to prioritize one to 10 or 1 to 50, whatever it is. But that's grown. So we've only been in beta like 2-3 days, and it's grown from like the list of we want to put a team builder in to much more kind of finer details about how do we bug fix and all of the basic stuff before we get into the kind of real nitty gritty of new tools within it. So, and that's why we've done it in beta. If we tried to open it out to everybody, I mean, it would be better. It's already bedlam anyway, even with the amount of users we've got around trying to capture feedback and stuff. So yeah.
And somebody asked what it was coded in.
I don't know the answer. So.
I wouldn't either. So
yeah,
not my forte. No, that's cool. I just thought that question.
I'm the guy who says I want it to do this, and then I'm like, can it be done in the next 20 minutes? And he's like, no, that's 3 weeks work.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah. Well, I won't make you hang out too long. I know you got to get ready for your stream and get some stuff going. I just wanted to kind of hang out with you a little bit, and I think it's a super cool thing. So it's definitely exciting to kind of talk with you about it. Is there anything you want to make sure you talk about or mention before we wrap up here or anything?
I guess the only thing really is if people do have feedback around it, once they've started to use it, we've got a section in my Discord, which is basically for feedback. So feedback and success stories, because it's really important for us to continuously improve it. That's why we put it out to beta. So similar to yourself, man, if you or any of your community, if you're playing around with it, doing a takeover or something, then yeah, anything you got would be awesome. But cool. Appreciate you letting me come on and talk through it.
You bet. Yeah, no problem. Well, then I guess have a good one, and thanks for all the hard work, and thanks for the cool new tool here for the community.
Cool. Cheers, guys. Good to see you all. Catch you later.
We'll see ya.
See you later.
Alrighty, that's going to do it for this one. Again, huge shout out to HellHades. I will link down below to the website. Definitely go check that out. It's a pretty great resource for anybody that is playing Rage of the Legends and mobile games in general. I know he is slowly adding more and more content and kind of filling out that website as he goes. So yeah, appreciate you, HellHades. Thanks for stopping by. And that link is down below if you want to check it out. So that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.